Zohran Mamdani has been on a whirlwind press tour since his victory, securing the Democratic nomination for mayor of New York City. And what he's saying is raising a few eyebrows in the financial capital of the world. The 33-year-old Ugandan-born Muslim, who also identifies as a socialist, beat out Andrew Cuomo to become the Democratic mayoral candidate for New York City, with the help of his creative campaigning targeted at millennials and Gen Z. But now that he's been nominated, Mamdani is also allowing some of his more wacky ideas to be exposed, and many New Yorkers aren't impressed. His comments on Meet the Press this past weekend are sure to get wealthy New Yorkers offside, where he made the bizarre claim that billionaires should not exist.
Democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
Commentator Evita Duff Alfonso told Fox News Gen Z are getting behind these socialist values because the American dream is no longer attainable.
The American dream is unaffordable for this next generation. The price of homeownership, the price of rent, of healthcare and education is out of control in this country. In 1970, the average house cost 2 to 3 times the average annual income. Today, it's 7 to 10 times the average annual income.
Wow.
So it's just out of control. And Zohran, what did he run on? He ran on left-wing populism, bringing down the price of rent, bringing down the price of groceries. These are things that the political right can do as well and do better, because what they're offering is an equitable suffering for everyone. That's what Zohran is offering. That's what collectivism always leads to.
And over on CNN, Mamdani had a downright bizarre exchange with host Erin Burnett, explaining his policy of state-owned supermarkets.
City-run grocery stores, I proposed a pilot program of 1 store in each borough. These are 5 stores in total. The total cost of this is $60 million. This is less than half the cost of what the city is already set to spend on a subsidy program for corporate supermarkets that has no guarantee of cheaper prices or collective bargaining agreements or even accepting
SNAP or WIC. So you're not looking at some like Soviet Union grocery stores on every corner that are going to be run by the government?
No, what I'm looking at is how to solve the very clear twin crises of affordability when you go to the grocery store and food deserts, which disproportionately impact Black and brown New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs.
Online commentators reacted to the policy, with this person saying, Zohran's detailed explanation for making groceries more affordable is literally Soviet Union-style grocery stores. He also went on to expose his disdain of capitalism once again.
So when people say democratic socialist, right, and I'm curious what you think this means. I mean, do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism. And I think ultimately the definition for me of why I call myself a democratic socialist is the words of Dr. King decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism, there must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's what I'm focused on, is dignity and taking on income inequality. And for too long, politicians have pretended that we're spectators to that crisis of affordability. We're actually actors, and we have the choice to exacerbate it, like Mayor Adams has done, or to respond to it and resolve it, like I'm planning to do.
This commentator blasted the take, saying Democrats always want to spend or take other people's money. This is why you don't vote for a Democrat if you want to keep your money. And when it comes to tax, Mamdani's policy is driven by race, which is causing a huge stir in the famously multicultural New York City.
And realize there's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. We've seen time and again that this is a property tax system that is inequitable. It's one that actually Eric Adams ran on saying that he would change in the first 100 days. He's since sought to defend it and lost at every juncture in court.
And I understand you're saying we're simply describing the types of neighborhoods that would see these increase in taxes, and yet by invoking race, do you run the risk of potentially alienating key constituents?
I think I'm just naming things as they are. And ultimately, the thing that motivates me in this is to create a system of fairness. It is not to work backwards from a racial assessment of neighborhoods or our city. Rather, it's to ensure that we actually have an equal playing field. And right now, what we see with the property tax system is one that is overtaxing a number of New Yorkers and undertaxing others, and an inability of political will to resolve that.
So no plans to change that language on your website?
The focus here is to actually ensure a fair property tax system, and that the use of that language is just an assessment of the neighborhood.
All right.
This commentator gave the nominee some advice, saying radical discrimination isn't the solution, Mamdani. And in between interviews, Zohran Mamdani managed to carve out some time to join New York City Attorney General Letitia James at the city's Pride Parade, seen jumping up and down and holding a trans flag. Many commentators question Mamdani's beliefs, as his embracing of the LGBTQIA+ community should technically go against his Muslim faith. This person said, "This is the most confusing candidate I have seen in some time, all jokes aside." And this person agreed, saying, "Muslims are literally against pride though." The Pride March was a stark contrast to the Islamic prayer that took place in Times Square just hours after Zohran's victory. And in another bizarre interview following his win, Mamdani is interviewed whilst eating rice with his hands, presumably in an attempt to appeal to the multicultural aspect of the city. But the whole act didn't go down too well, particularly after he suggested his politics were inspired by the Third World.
So the third holy grail of taboos in American politics, you have socialism, you have Islam, and then you have Palestine. And you are really going for the trifecta.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Tell me, why is Palestine a part of your politics?
When you grow up as someone, especially in the third world, you have a very different understanding of the Palestinian struggle.
This Indian commentator said, notably, he's not even doing it right. That isn't how you eat rice with your hands. This is entirely a constructed persona to make white liberals feel special and in the know. But despite Mamdani's newfound popularity with the elites of New York City, Donald Trump brought him right back down to earth during an interview this weekend on Fox, where he gave a stern warning and laid down the law about who's really in charge.
I can tell you this, whoever's mayor of New York is going to have to behave themselves, or the federal government is coming down very tough on them financially.